Trail cameras are used primarily for wildlife monitoring and surveillance. They are designed to capture photos and videos of animals or humans passing by the camera's sensor. Trail cameras are often used by landowners, researchers, and wildlife enthusiasts to observe animal behavior, track animal movements, and identify potential hunting areas. They are also used for home security and surveillance, capturing footage of intruders or suspicious activity around a property. They are often equipped with motion sensors and can send alerts to the owner's phone or email when triggered. Interestingly, this landowner noticed something strange on their trail camera, saying that it appears to be a large humanoid. They submitted the footage to social media and wanted people's opinions on it. Those who saw the footage said that it looks like a large humanoid and matches typical descriptions of creatures that have been sighted throughout North America. Oddly enough, more and more trail cam owners are coming forward with footage like this, saying that many of the humanoids look like large, hairy, ape-like creatures, standing between 6 to 10 feet tall and weighing between 4 to 800 pounds. Trail cam owners also report a strong, unpleasant odor in the surrounding area, with them saying that this is direct evidence to support its existence. One user said the following about the footage: "I happen to think the creature is real, and I know several hunters who've encountered these creatures in the wilderness. The hard thing is to capture one of them on camera. They're elusive, but there's plenty of them throughout the Pacific Northwest region of North America. Due to the dense forests, it's incredibly hard to see them. For example, I've had friends say that one could be standing within 10 feet of you, and because of how thick the trees are, you'd never know they were there." End quote. As of right now, there's still an ongoing debate as to what these creatures are and where they're coming from. Skeptics have said that trail cam owners are just capturing everyday wildlife, such as bears. But not everyone agrees with this statement, and have said that they believe there's a small community of these creatures living throughout the United States. As technology continues to develop, they believe that it's only a matter of time before high-quality footage is captured of them. All across North America are reported sightings of the Sasquatch creature, a massive bipedal humanoid giant covered in hair from head to toe and commonly encountered within or nearby the untamed woods and landscapes found all across the United States and Canada. Oddly enough, not every state or local area across North America refers to the creature as Bigfoot. More commonly, local legends will feature similar descriptions of this creature, but with slight variations in its design alongside differing names. One of these is that of the mysterious Oceana monster. Descriptions of the Oceana monster often overlap with typical sightings of Sasquatch-like creatures. It's commonly accepted that the Oceana monster is a large humanoid-type creature, and so the reports of the creature are often lumped together with general Bigfoot reports made around the United States. However, the average sightings of the Oceana monster are typically only reported around the town of Oceana, located within the state of West Virginia, and add the atypical description that the creature is different from average sightings due to its scream that has often been compared to the hideous yell of a baby crying or cats fighting. The typical descriptions of the Oceana monster claim it to stand at a height of approximately 7 to 8 feet, covered from head to toe in long dark hair, and has the ability to jump long distances. Although witness encounters of the Oceana monster have been few and not recent, it's believed that the Oceana monster could have been a member of the species that traveled too close to the small town of Oceana and resided within the nearby mountainsides. The original Oceana monster encounter. Located within the state of West Virginia, the small coal mining town of Oceana was at the center of economic devastation during the rise of the Wyoming coal mines during the late 1970s and early 1980s. This economic devastation led to a general feeling of anxiety for many of the town's residents, causing a sharp increase in reports surrounding strange sightings and otherworldly encounters, though often dismissed by the local police station. It was not until the 14th of August, back in 1978, that the reports of otherworldly encounters would be treated more seriously by the Ocean Police Department. According to the written account of Officer Patrolman Bill Pritt, he would directly have an encounter with a large humanoid-like entity, later referred to as the Oceana Monster. The witness report claims that while Patrolman Pitt was working between the early hours of 7 in the evening and 7 in the morning, he had received a call from the police dispatcher claiming that neighbors could hear the sound of a baby screaming in the night. Taking the call, Officer Bill Pritt traveled to the neighborhood, located near the Oceana Town Hall, and turned onto Monroe Street, in the general direction of the call's origin. Approaching the closest home, a small mobile home located at the edge of Monroe Street, he spoke with the homeowner who claimed to have heard the sound of screaming, but that it was definitely unlike anything human, comparing it to a hideous scream that frightened him into his home. After talking to another resident of the home, who claimed that the sound of the screaming could have come from a group of wild cats fighting, the officer began searching the area for fur marks to have provided evidence for such a claim. Unable to find anything, the officer went to approach another nearby home when he suddenly heard what he described as a hideous echoing squall emanating from down the street. Immediately, Patrolman Pritt entered his police cruiser and drove down the street headed towards the Clear Fork River to investigate, believing that the screaming could have been coming from a homeless man. As the officer was driving down the street, he noticed the silhouette of a person standing underneath a streetlight at the corner of Monroe Street and Willow Avenue. Exiting his car, he called to the man who appeared to be doubled over in pain and screaming the inhuman scream. As he called to the man, he noticed the person slowly stand at full height, rising to a standing position and turning to face him. It was at this moment that the patrolman realized that the man underneath the streetlight was actually an inhuman humanoid bipedal creature, covered from head to toe in dark hair and standing at a height of over 7 feet tall. Suddenly, the creature screamed again and began running towards the officer in a menacing fashion, as if preparing to attack the officer in the middle of the street. Fearing for his life, the officer pulled out his service weapon and loaded 1 round into the belly of the monster. The creature stopped abruptly, then quickly turned around and began to run away in the opposite direction of the officer without any noticeable injury of any kind, heading down Monroe Street towards the Clear Fork River. Patrolman Bill Pritt, who was now in a state of shock, ran to his vehicle and radioed to dispatch, requesting additional backup for his location on the corner next to the Johnny Aliff residence. Immediately thereafter, Officer Pritt jumped back into his police cruiser and began following the creature, relaying his position over the radio, and he pursued the creature. Spotting it once more at the bank of the river, the officer exited his vehicle and began to chase the creature on foot when he noticed that it was already standing on the opposite side of the bank. At first, the officer was confused how the creature had already crossed the river, given that he heard no splashing, and it appeared as if the creature was completely dry. On later recollection, the officer claimed that the creature must have swam the length of the river in less than 30 seconds, as it would have been impossible to have jumped across the length of the river, which totaled roughly 60 to 75 feet in width. Fearing that the creature would get away, Officer Pritt fired at the monster several more times, until he unloaded his entire chamber on the creature, who appeared to be standing at the side of the riverbank, staring back at the officer. A nearby officer, Chief Raymond Walker, was the first to respond to Officer Pritt's radio to the police dispatch, requiring immediate reinforcements, though was unable to get any follow-up information on what the cause for the request for additional reinforcements was about. Beginning to fear for the worst, Chief Raymond Walker began driving 80 miles per hour to reach Officer Pritt as soon as possible. Once approaching the area of Monroe Street, Chief Raymond Walker could hear the shots from Pritt's revolver, claiming that the encounter sounded like a full-on firefight down by the riverbank. Without hesitation, Chief Raymond Walker drove up to the bank, exited his vehicle, and ran down to where Officer Pritt was standing, reportedly seeing the officer dry firing his weapon in a direction towards some brush across the riverbank. When the chief asked Pritt what was going on, the officer replied that there was a monster on the other side of the bank and to fire at it. It was at this moment that the chief claimed to have seen the brush begin to move and a large creature standing at the other side of the river. Unsure of what the creature could have been, the chief fired 4 warning shots into the air. The sound of the assault rifle sent the creature running up the mountainside and disappearing from view. Once gone, the chief led Patrolman Pritt back to his vehicle and attempted to cover up the incident to prevent people from asking too many questions. However, by 6:38 in the morning, citizens began investigating the matter on their own, looking for evidence of the creature, as some of the nearby residents had heard the screams and seen the encounter. By 7 in the morning, citizens had gathered evidence by taking photos of trampled weeds, broken branches, and a large footprint in the mud along the riverbank that was far larger and awkwardly shaped to have been a human foot, though looked unlike any other known animal in the region. Even more startling, many of the citizens claimed to hear the continued screams of the creature way off in the distance up on the nearby mountainside. Shortly after the sighting of the creature, reported by Patrolman Bill Pritt and Chief Raymond Walker, the West Virginia Department of Natural Resources soon became involved in a formal investigation into the claims of the humanoid ape-like creature residing within the nearby swamplands. However, rather than attempt to confirm the sighting of the creature, the wildlife experts were instructed to disprove the encounter as nothing more than a case of hysteria, with many of the investigators claiming that the creature was nothing more than a large bird. As the West Virginia Department of Natural Resources combed the area, they were unable to find any supporting evidence for the claim of the creature to have been a large book, with no evidence of blood or feathers anywhere surrounding the area. Following their investigation, a man by the name of James Cozort, a local citizen who had a bachelor's degree in social studies from the University of Concord, led his own personal investigation into the encounter. After traveling to the side of the riverbank, James Cozort began collecting several photographs of the scene to try to piece together the movement of the creature through the surrounding brush. Once all of his evidence had been gathered, the following night, Cozort offered to join Patrolman Pritt on a ride along throughout the area to see if the creature would return again on the following night. As they spent a 12-hour shift together, talking and handling several minor incidents, the creature failed to return. So, what do you make of these interesting reports and encounters? And do you think there's a large humanoid living in parts of the Pacific Northwest region of North America? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.